Mitt Romney tells Fox News the Trump impeachment trial is needed for unity. Jeff Bezos' Amazon says mail-in voting isn't secure for its upcoming union elections. Plus, pressure mounts on Republican Liz Cheney to be removed from the GOP House leadership over impeachment. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Mitt Romney because he is at it again. And you have to wonder, why hasn't this guy become a full-fledged Democrat yet? Because he was the only Republican in the Senate to vote to convict President Trump in the first impeachment debacle. Now he's saying that we need this impeachment trial for unity, to bring people together. It's absolutely outrageous. He actually thinks that the way to bring this nation together is to attack the man who is no longer in office. Romney was on Fox News Sunday talking to Chris Wallace yesterday. Wallace asked him, is the Senate going to move forward with an impeachment trial? And here's Romney.
Well, we're certainly going to have a trial. I wish that weren't necessary, but the president's conduct with regards to the call to Secretary of State Raffensperger in Georgia, as well as the incitation towards the insurrection that led to the attack on the Capitol, calls for a trial.
All right, so first, just a little review of Romney's wording, because you know I love to dive into that, especially when people are talking to the media, see how they're spinning things, see what they're really revealing. He brings up Raffensperger's conversation, the conversation between President Trump and Secretary of State Raffensperger in Georgia. That call was perfectly fine. It wasn't even just Trump and Raffensperger. It was lawyers on both sides, staff on both sides. And what President Trump said was, do your job. If you just do your job, you'll find the votes to turn the election. That's what he said. Romney's bringing it up just to, again, cast a shadow on President Trump. Then he doesn't talk about claims of inciting violence or charges of inciting an insurrection. No, he states those as fact. So he reveals, just like Mitch McConnell, that he's all in for convicting President Trump. And then Romney adds this.
If we're going to have unity in our country, I think it's important to recognize the need for accountability, for truth and justice. So I think there will be a trial, and I hope it goes as quickly as possible, but that's up to the counsel on both sides.
All right, so did you get all that? Romney says, for the sake of uniting America, we have to have this trial. But what's uniting about going after this man who is already out of office? He said that we need to peacefully and patriotically let our voices be heard. That's what he said at his rally on January 6th. This is also the man that, in the sake of unity, on the theme of unity, expanded the Republican base. More minority support than in the last 60 years, Black and Hispanic. That's what President Trump did. He brought more people into the Republican Party. Romney and McConnell and others like him want to go after him, punish him, kick him out of the party, and make sure he does not run again. So then Wallace asked about Joe Biden, because Joe Biden has made calls for unity too, but his actions, according to Wallace, have some Republicans upset that his executive orders don't promote unity at all. Here was Romney's response.
I think it's appropriate for us to have unity of purpose, unity of heart, a recognition that we respect each other and treat each other with comity. And that is something which I believe President Biden wants to see.
Yep, we should follow Biden's call for unity at the same time that we attack President Trump and President Trump's supporters. Romney also shows his establishment mentality, that he really doesn't get it and that he does not represent we, the people of America. He talks about suspending the oil and gas leases and how that will hurt people in rural America. Hello? It hurts all of us. And then he brings up the Keystone Pipeline, where instantly 11,000 people lose their jobs. How does he describe that? Oh, those folks will be angry. Well, what about you, Mitt Romney? Does that make you angry? Does that policy anger you? Because it sure does hurt America, where in one action, Biden eliminates 11,000 jobs, and you talk about how they will be angry. It should anger all of us if you truly represent the Republican Party and conservative values. All right, so next, let's talk about what's going on at Amazon. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 150,000 subscribers, and we can do it with your help. All right, let's talk about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, because he also owns the Washington Post. And along with papers like the New York Times, they threw all journalistic integrity out the window during this past election, all in for bringing down President Trump and supporting Joe Biden. And one of the things they really attacked President Trump on is when he talked about the fraud involved with mail-in voting. We've seen example after example after example. Jimmy Carter was even involved in the commission saying, hey, we shouldn't rely on mail-in voting. And we shouldn't. Logic says the safest, most secure way is to vote in person. But anytime President Trump talked about that, the Washington Post was bashing him. Well, guess what? Jeff Bezos' other company, Amazon, they don't feel mail-in voting is the way to go for their union elections because it's not secure. And here's the story. Online retail giant Amazon opposed mail-in voting for a union election, according to a filing with the National Labor Relations Board. Amazon's position on mail-in voting conflicts with that of the Washington Post editorial board's position on mail-in voting. Both companies are owned by Jeff Bezos. In a petition filed with the NLRB on January 21st, Amazon argued that mail-in voting would decrease turnout and create security concerns in a unionization election at the company's Bessemer, Alabama warehouse. Amazon argued in the petition uploaded by The Verge that concerns about election security run particularly high due to the use of an unreliable electronic signature platform. Can you believe this? This isn't some federal election. It's not the presidential election. It's a union election in Alabama, but the concerns are so high about mail-in voting, they think people should vote in person. They don't like the security concerns. So what was the deal when we're talking about election for the President of the United States? The position Amazon is taking is quite different than Bezos' other company, the Washington Post. The company's position on mail-in voting contradicts that of owner Jeff Bezos' other major company, the Washington Post. The Post editorial board ran multiple articles assailing then-President Donald Trump's criticism of mail-in voting. One op-ed, published August 17th, called his comments bogus fear-mongering. And we've heard more and more. We've seen the articles. But look at this. This union election isn't safe for mail-in voting. It's not secure. They need to vote in person. We're still in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. Yet the coronavirus pandemic was what was used to push mail-in voting on the presidential election. They said it's going to be secure. Everything's going to be great about it. But we can't have people vote in person because it's not safe. It just shows you that the Democrats don't follow the science. They don't care about people. It's all about advancing an agenda. If we can vote in person for this union election, we certainly could have voted in person for the presidential election, the most important, biggest election we have. Yet they said mail-in voting was fine for that. It just shows that one of their agenda items of the left and the Democrats was to bring down President Trump, and they'd use any tactic and say anything, even if it contradicts themselves, to do it. All right, so next let's talk about other Republicans, not just Mitt Romney, who are drawing the ire of me and other conservatives. Because folks, we are in a fight right now. We are in a fight, and we want to advance our conservative policies, our conservative agenda, but not just talk about it. We have so many establishment Republicans who try to just hide their true intentions inside the Beltway, but I think their disdain for President Trump was so strong that they just revealed that they're not willing to fight. We want our conservative values pushed forward, and we want people to fight for them, not these Republicans that just talk about it. And those Republicans, some of them, were revealed recently with the House impeachment vote, where 10 GOP members voted to impeach the one person who has advanced our agenda more than any other that I can remember, with tax cuts and border and foreign policy and regulations and judges. You name it, they didn't even give that man due process to mount a defense in the House, yet 10 GOP members voted to impeach him. One of those holds a GOP leadership position, and that's Liz Cheney, and the pressure continues to mount for her removal. And here's the story. As another Senate impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump looms on the horizon, House Republicans stepped up their pressure campaign against GOP conference chairwoman Liz Cheney to resign from her leadership post. Florida Republican Matt Gaetz plans to rally with local Republicans in Cheyenne on Thursday to urge the Wyoming Republican Congresswoman to step down as a result of her voting in favor of Trump's second impeachment and accusing him of betrayal to the office of the presidency. So the story goes on to report that Liz Cheney has already drawn a primary opponent for her next election, and the Wyoming Republican Party blasted Cheney for this impeachment vote, partly because, again, President Trump was not even given due process. It was such a bogus proceeding, and Liz Cheney and 9 other GOP members voted for it. But not everyone is opposed to Liz Cheney. Some Republicans, especially in the leadership, have come forward supporting her efforts, standing behind her, and here's more. Several GOP lawmakers publicly gave support to Cheney, including House Freedom Caucus members Ken Buck of Colorado and Chip Roy of Texas. Other Republicans who stated they support keeping her in leadership are Texas Republican Dan Crenshaw, Oklahoma Rep. Tom Cole, South Carolina Rep. Nancy Mace, Texas Rep. Michael Burgess, and Illinois Rep. Rodney Davis. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy told reporters on Thursday he did not support ousting Cheney from her position, adding that the conference is expected to meet this week to discuss the matter and will eventually unify. Yeah, well, put me on the opposite side of those folks, because I think she should be removed from her leadership position. You have to support your Republican president when he specifically said, peacefully and patriotically, let your voices be heard. When he did more to expand the Republican base than any president that I can remember. When he actually delivered on his campaign promises of tax cuts, of border security, of ending foreign wars, of jobs, boosting the economy, lowest unemployment in 50 years, on and on and on. They didn't even give him the opportunity of due process. They voted to impeach him. She should be out of that leadership position. All right, so next let's talk about Chuck Schumer and ABC News, because getting ready for their This Week program, they did some pretty creative editing. Chuck Schumer was on the Senate floor on Friday talking about President Trump, talking about what happened on January 6th, talking about how President Trump incited insurrection. Except, well, Schumer didn't exactly say that. And here's Schumer.
But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
Trump incited what? What did he say? Let's double check that.
Donald John Trump incited the erection.
Yep, that's what I thought. But it's all good because he's a Democrat, and ABC News wanted to use that clip for a This Week promo, so they just wiped that right out of existence and ran with this.
This 46th president confronts multiple crises as the Senate prepares to try a former president for the first time.
Senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection.
Nice job, ABC News. I guess you guys worked long and hard on that one, right? Schumer is a mess, folks. He is a mess. The Democrats are a mess. The impeachment trial is a mess. And that clip was so funny. I hope it goes viral, makes the blooper reels, because these people just are so bent on President Trump, on going after him. You wonder what was going through Chuck Schumer's mind when he was saying that. It's really, really weird, but we're going to end it with that. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPusa.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.